talking about shoulders, and I want to let you know that I've had to work really hard to contain the length of this video. Shoulders encompass so much. We've got muscles working in the front of our body, down our arm, and in the back of the body, right? Shoulders move in so many different directions. We're reaching, we're lifting, we're pushing, we're pulling. And when someone says, oh, my shoulders are tight, or my shoulders hurt, what are they talking about? Is it happening here? Is it happening right here? Is it happening in the shoulder blade? So I've tried to encompass everything in here without making it too in depth. So it's beginner accessible and it's safe. If you feel discomfort in your shoulders during this practice, it's a really good opportunity for you to take a second and distinguish the difference between sensation and pain. I talk about this in my classes a lot. A lot of times we feel sensation. We feel a deep stretch, we feel intensity, we feel release, and those things are not the same as pain. And then pain is a thing we may feel, and that's our body saying you need to back off, you've gone too far, you've gone too deep, you need love and attention in this area. So today, there's a few things we're going to do where you're going to feel huge opening, and you might feel a lot of sensation or intensity, possibly even discomfort, and those things are all different than pain. If you feel pain, you need to stop and go talk to someone about your shoulders. So I am not a doctor or a physical therapist. I am someone who has worked really hard to get to know my own body and the bodies of my students. So I have a lot of good things to offer you today, but I'm not a shoulder doctor. So the other interesting piece about shoulders is, right, they're so intricately connected to our neck and to our back that some of the things we're going to do, and to our chest. So there's a couple moves that we'll do that could double as one of those other things, or where we're going to loosen some of those things so that we can get into the shoulders. This could have been like a 4-hour workshop, but that wasn't my goal. Okay, a couple of other things. When I stand, you may not see the top of my head. That's okay, you don't need to. And finally, I usually crop out the doorway from my videos because it's a nice peek into the chaos of my playroom basement. But I need that doorway today for this practice. So I'm just thanking you ahead of time for your grace for being able to see the crap fest through the doorway. Okay, so we are gonna start. I am sitting up on my blanket. You wanna make sure that you have a strap handy, possibly a ball, so a trigger point ball or a lacrosse ball. You actually want one bigger than this. I can't find my bigger one because my son took it. And then we're going to use the wall and the doorway. So there's a lot of proppage going on today. But for now, you can find your comfy seated spot. I'm sitting up on the edge of my blanket, not fully on the blanket, but on the edge. So I've got a nice pelvic tilt forward. Sit up nice and tall, plant your hands on your knees, and leading with your heart, start to move around the world. So I'm using my whole spine here. Okay, so some people move in their spine is a stick and it's like a stirring spoon. That's not what we're looking for. Use your spine, bend through those joints, pull the heart forward, around, back, around. Good, moving around the world here. Now obviously, this isn't necessarily strictly in your shoulders, as we talked about. Then next time your heart is all the way forward, switch directions and go back. If you've taken my neck video, you know that I originally was going to do neck and shoulders together, but shoulders needed too much attention, so they got their own spot. All right, one more circle here. Heart is forward, roll back up. Good, so we're just gonna roll our shoulders forward, up, back, and down. Try that again. Forward, up, back, and down. And you can take your hands and either place them on your shoulders, or I kind of like to tuck them under. So I've got chicken wings here, and it's actually a secret wrist stretch at the same time. And we're gonna move the shoulders around in circles. I call these big chicken wing circles. rolling the shoulders out. Now, if you're hearing crunching through the shoulders, me too, you're not alone. Totally normal. We're gonna pause and roll forward. So you should feel hunchy. You should be like, oh, this is when I'm on my phone or sitting in the car and I'm like spending too much time hunched over, and then pause and roll back again. We always end rolling shoulders backwards where we want them to be. So again, you could be doing this with hands on top of the shoulders. I prefer my hands underneath, but whatever you want to do. Pull them back one more time, good, and then shake it out a little bit. Shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. All right, so we're gonna get into stretching across a little bit. We're gonna do this 3 different ways, and then we'll move some of the stretch up here. I'm not gonna use a lot of jargon for you today. I could be saying things like scapular and serratus and internal rotation, and while some of those words will mean something to some of you, that's not my goal. My goal is normal people with normal bodies who just need to loosen up a little bit, okay? So you're gonna take right arm out to a T, and then sweep it across, bend this left arm and trap it. You can trap it in front of the elbow if you have the flexibility, or behind the elbow if you don't. Now you're gonna pull the shoulder down. So this is one of the movements where newbies to yoga sometimes can't isolate this shoulder blade. Shrug the shoulder up and then pull it way down the back. So you should be able to see a little bit more of your neck here. Good, so you should feel this stretch pulling across the arm. And then breathe. Okay, now we do have major arteries running through this area of our body. So if you ever get numbness, if your arm is ever going to sleep, release what you're doing. Get that feeling back. Okay, all right, so gently release. Sweep it back out to the side. Good, now we're gonna bend it into a goalpost or a 90 degree. You wanna make sure that your bicep here is parallel to the floor. Again, sweep it across. Hold that left arm, capture the elbow. Shrug the shoulders up, pull them down. Good, so having this bent arm makes it a little more intense. If this is too intense, you can go back to the straight arm. Breathing here. Now while you're sitting here, something to think about. Pull your hip points together and tuck your ribs back in towards your spine. It's really easy here to kind of like arch to overcompensate for the flexibility you don't have. We're going to talk about this a lot in this video today. Activating that core, neutralizing the spine. Okay, gently release. Good, so we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Bring that left arm out straight, sweep it across, trap it with the right arm, shrug shoulders up, and then pull them back down. Now if you're watching me closely, you should be able to see more of my neck after I pull my shoulders back down. If you're not watching me closely because you're focused on what you're doing, that's also preferably more acceptable. Breathing here. Hip points, ribs, check in. So that's crucial here. I mean, it's always important, but there are moves we're going to do where we're really going to focus on that. Okay, release this. Left arm comes to a goalpost. Sweep it across. Trap it with the right arm. Roll shoulders up, back and down. We could add in neck things here too. Obviously, if you were to tip your head to the right, get a nice stretch to the left side of your neck. You can always opt to do things like that, especially if you have a decent yoga practice and familiarity with your own body where you already know, like, hey, that would feel great. This is a safe place to do that. If you're like, hey, all I know is what you tell me, then don't even worry about it. All right, release this. Okay, so we're gonna do one more version. This will be the most advanced. So if this doesn't work for you, go back to the bent arm or the straight arm. But also it works for students I have with super tight shoulders. So you'll just have to find your own way that it works. So bring both arms out, up to a goalpost, 90 degrees. Good, and we're gonna sweep the right elbow on top of the left and then wind up the arms as much as you can. Now mine wind up pretty good. If yours don't wind up and you're just kind of like touching the backs or grabbing your fingers, whatever that looks like for you. Okay, you can't see my face, doesn't matter. Pull the shoulders down the back and then lift the elbows. Good, now this should pinch so good right here on the right side, between the shoulder and the neck. Continue to pull the shoulder blades down the back, like you're tucking them into your butt crack. It's a weird cue, but it works. Lift the elbows up high. I know you can't see my face, that's okay. Breathe, check in with the ribs and the hip points. Now again, if it's too intense, you can lower the elbows. If your wrists are tight, maybe they complain here as well. You could unwrap a little bit or hold differently. My right wrist is like, I'm not exactly having fun. And then release. Now take a second. Notice how your right shoulder feels and how your left shoulder feels. They should feel different. Good, less good. Arms come up to goalposts. This time the left elbow sweeps over top. Pull the shoulders down, lift the elbows. Breathe. Now this might feel different on one side from the other. That's always true of anything that we do, because chances are you carry your purse on one shoulder all the time, or you carry your kid on one hip all the time, or whatever it is. So it's always normal for one side to feel a little bit different. Pull the shoulders down, pull the elbows up, hip points together, snug in the ribs. Hurts so good, pinches so good. Gently release. Okay, shimmy that out again. Whew. Good. Okay, I want you to bring your feet out in front of you now. This is called rowing. And if we had our legs out all the way, it would be a hamstring stretch. That's not the point right now. So keeping the knees bent, your feet are on your heels. You're gonna just reach forward and grab your feet. Now, if you've got like belly and boobs, take your knees a little wider. That's fine. And then you can pinch them back in or not. Okay? Just experiment here with rocking the feet forward. So you're pulling yourself forward. Okay? And then, after you've loosened up a little bit, hold on to the feet as best you can. Roll your shoulders down so you can see your neck. And then push the feet forward. Pull through the hands. Okay? So you might feel this more in your lower back, or you might feel it deep in those shoulder blades. One other thing that you can do is press one foot forward and bring the other back. That really moves it into the one shoulder blade for me. And then switching feet, pressing forward. So when you come do the lower back video, you might see this again. But depending on how you paddle the feet, you can get a real good pull through those shoulder blades. So do this however works best for you. And then when you're ready, you can gently pull the feet back and release the hands. And that's an exercise you can do anytime or for a longer length of time, but I want to move through and get to everything we have to talk about today. I'm going to move my blanket out of the way. And then we're going to roll up the end of our mat. You can do this with like a cylinder-like cushion, or I could use like my foam roller that's right here. But those things are a little bigger, a little more intense, and you kind of want to work up to those. This is a great just kind of low end of the spectrum version of this. So see, I've got a nice chunky roll here. Now I have a very thick mat, so I might have a chunkier roll than you do. You can roll up most of your mat. It doesn't matter. You're going to turn, and your goal is for the bra strap area of your back to go right across this rolled up mat. And if it takes you a second to find, hey, I hit it the first try, then that's fine. So you're just going to lay back. Good. So this is really delicious also for the spine. Arms can come open to the side to a T. I'm running into the wall with my left hand. But what's even more effective is cactus arms, goalpost arms. Okay, if that feels like too much, you can unbend the elbows, of course. And just breathe. Relax a little bit. Nice deep breath in. Maybe you let it out with a sigh. Maybe you yawn like I'm going to. Maybe you move into your 3-part breath or your ocean sounding breath, whatever works for you. And if you want to wiggle around and maybe find a better spot, just cracked my own back. Just start to release.
We do so much hunching forward without realizing it. All our time on the computer, all our time on the phone, the way we drive our car, the way we watch TV. You can also do this hanging off of your bed. So like laying where your head and arms, and then you would tuck your hands under your head like this and kind of hang backwards off your mattress. I do that sometimes. The only thing for me that's hard is you're a little more stable if your legs are like this when you're on the mattress, like less likely to tumble off backwards, but my lower back doesn't like that, so I have to keep my knees bent like this, which makes me a little more like, I'm dangling over the edge of the bed, but you can do whatever works for you. All right, to exit safely, don't try to sit up. You're gonna roll to one side, and then let that mat uncurl and stay rolled onto your side. All right, so this is where we get into some of the overlap of exercises, which is totally fine. So you're gonna lay here, and we're gonna get in all kinds of 90-degree angles. Actually, I lied to you. Before we roll to one side, go back onto your back, like you're set up for bridge. So laying flat on your back, knees are bent, feet are flat on the floor. So we're gonna do some shoulder internal rotation here, which I know I said I wasn't gonna use that word, but I don't have a sexier thing to call it. We're gonna take our hands, palms facing down, and just tuck them right underneath our hips or our lower back. We're just pinning the hands down here, okay? Now this should not already feel tricky for your shoulders. If it does, then you're gonna wanna not move forward with this exercise, okay? Next, you're gonna kind of pull your shoulder blades underneath your back. Move them down towards your booty, good. We're gonna hang out here, we're gonna do two different movements. And one of them you won't be able to see, you're just gonna feel it. So first, for about 5 seconds, you're gonna press your elbows down into the mat and maybe back up towards the shoulders. So I'm not sure if you can see the movement of me doing that, but you will feel it through the shoulders and the arms. Pressing down and back. Good. And then for 5 seconds, you're gonna try to lift the elbows. You might microscopically see mine lift. They're not coming up to the ceiling by any means. Lifting the elbows, good. Bring them back down, press into the mat and up. Excuse all my sniffing, allergy season is upon us. And then for 5 seconds, lift elbows. Good. Now I'm gonna move on with you, but you might wanna stay here for maybe like 2 minutes, do several rounds of that. We are now gonna roll onto one side as promised, okay? And I want you to make 90-degree angles in your knees, hips, and shoulders. So shins are maybe parallel to the edge of the mat, hips are perpendicular, torso is parallel, arms are perpendicular. Look at that, you do use math as a grown-up. And then in order to let your head touch the floor, you wanna kind of tuck your shoulder underneath you so your head can rest on the floor. Arms are out in front of you like you're a clapping seal at the circus. Clapping monkey, whatever. All right, so this is called the open book twist. Now I'm actually gonna roll to the other side to show this to you because I want you to see what my arm does that comes open. So here's how you're setting up. I'm gonna roll to the other side so you can see what happens once you've opened up, okay? So I'm making my 90-degree angles. Good. Tuck my shoulder under. So you're gonna take a nice deep breath in, and then open this arm all the way onto the floor. Good. Okay, so my knees are stacked, my legs are stable. If your top knee pulls back a little, that's okay, but try to bring your hips back stacked. Okay, but you do wanna allow this shoulder to come in contact with the floor. So you're just opening the book. Brilliant. So now, this hand, okay, that you've opened is gonna move up overhead, not totally straight up overhead, but kind of out to the corner of the mat. And then, here's the tricky part. Pull your elbow down towards your hip. So I'm not sure if you can see my arm or not. I'm gonna lift it, but you wanna keep it on the floor. Keep your elbow and your wrist in touch with the floor, and you're gonna pull your elbow down till you feel that pinch in the shoulder blade. Okay, so this is called an angel, so it's sort of like snow angels. lift the arm back up. Okay, so I'm going to keep mine on the floor this time. You're sliding the elbow down towards the hip, attempting to keep the back of the hand and the elbow on the floor. Now if you're super tight, it's going to be harder to do. Your hand in particular is going to pop up. You should feel that in the shoulder blade, right? Okay, so just again, here's my arm, pretend it's on the floor. It's almost like a crunch down towards the hip. Okay, so you want to do like 5 of these on each side. Okay, beautiful. So stay on the side that you're on. Let me roll back over. It was really interesting to figure out my camera angles for this whole video. Okay, so you're like this, right? You got your 90-degree angles, your clapping seal hands. Here's what I want you to do now. Bring your legs out a little more straight. Okay? And then you're going to bend the elbow that's on the floor and turn your palm to face your feet. And then try to let your palm fall down towards the floor. It's only going to get like halfway there. And you'll start to feel a stretch in the front of your upper arm / moving into the shoulder. Good. Okay, we're going to take this top hand, and let me make a very clear distinction before we start. We're just resting it. We're not pushing. We're resting this hand on top of this floppy wrist. There's a real name for this exercise, and I call it the weird floppy arm stretch because that's what it is. So you got this arm that's flopping towards the floor but not making it. Top hand's going to rest on this wrist. So it's pushing it down, but just because of gravity, you're not shoving down. That would be a great way to hurt yourself. And you should feel this stretch moving up the arm into this front of the shoulder, almost into the pec kind of stretch. Now, if this isn't doing it for you, check, is your elbow really up high enough? Is your arm parallel to the top of your mat? Okay, is your forearm parallel to the side of your mat? Okay, resting it here. Breathing. Good, and then gently release. I'm going to even pull my arm back up because I'm being kind to myself. Now you're going to roll over to your other side. I'm going to get all flipped around for you. Open book on the other side, so start by lining yourself up. 90-degree knees, 90-degree arms, clapping seal hands. And then we'll inhale, sweep this top arm open like a book. Beautiful. Hang out there for a minute. And then sweep that wrist up towards the top corner of the mat. And crunch that elbow down towards the hip. So my arm is off the mat so you can see it on the camera. But you want your elbow and your wrist as much as possible to trail along the floor in the mat as you crunch the elbow down. Now I'll tell you right now, it's much harder for me on this side. So my hand is popping up off the mat as I crunch the elbow down. That's okay. You just want to be cognizant and try your best to keep that arm on the mat as you do this angel crunch here. Squeezing the elbow down towards the hip, feeling that, in the front, but also pinching in the shoulder blade. So remember, we're doing 5 there. Good, and then you stay where you are and flipping around so you can see me. So now you're bending that elbow, facing the palm towards the feet. Legs can straighten a little bit if you want. And letting this hand flop towards the floor. Not gonna make it, right? Checking alignment of upper arm, lower arm. Top hand is just gonna rest on this wrist. And the more you push down, but remember you're not pushing, you're letting gravity do it. Okay? The more you're feeling that along the front of this upper arm and the shoulder. Beautiful. Hanging out, breathing. Remember, shoulder tightness can mean a million different things. So if this isn't an area that's tight for you, this stretch may not be doing a whole lot for you, and that's okay. We all make different movements during the day. People who are doing heavy lifting is different than people who are watching children, is different than people who are at computers, is different than everybody. So some of these stretches are going to really resonate, and some of them are going to be like That's not part of the shoulder. That's really compromised for me, and that's okay. Okay, I'm gonna not just release the hand, but lift it back up. Beautiful. All right, I am rolling now all the way flat onto my belly. Okay, and we're gonna start by bringing arms open out to a T. Okay? So I'm gonna show you on one side and then the other, because again, camera angles. Okay, so I'm bringing this right hand in, sliding it in until it's under my right shoulder. Left arm's out to a T. Pressing through my right hand, starting to flip my whole torso. So I'm letting my hips flip and I'm leading with my top leg. I'm gonna bend this knee and stack this foot behind me. Okay? So you should feel this in your left shoulder, nice and open. Now, if you have enough flexibility in the shoulder, you can always take this right arm and like wrap it around behind, or you can leave it here for support. I'm actually running into the wall, so my left arm is cactused right now, whereas yours should be out straight. The cactus thing always makes it more intense, so I need this hand here for support, but I'm running into the wall. Again, you can stay here for a lot longer. I want to get a move on and show you all these different tricks. So you're going to start to unflip, unbend the knee first, hips, flip, flip all the way down. Okay. Right arm comes out to a T. Left hand's coming in under the shoulder. Pressing through the left arm, flipping the hips, stacking the leg. So again, you have the flexibility in the right shoulder and your hips are flipped enough. This arm can always wrap around behind, or it can stay on the mat for support. Whatever works for you. Feeling this through the right shoulder. So if you're super tight, you're gonna just not be able to flip as far. Okay, when you go to unwind, foot comes first, hips go next. Whew. Let's take a nap here for a second. Okay, so next, you're gonna cactus both of your arms, making sure upper arms are parallel to the top of the mat, forearms are parallel to the side of the mat. Your head's just gonna be forehead on the mat, or you can have your head to one side. Try not to keep this head too lifted, okay? I'm gonna lift mine to be able to talk to you, but I'm the only one who's getting hurt here, not you today, thank you. Okay, one at a time, keeping elbows plugged into the mat, you're just gonna try to lift your hand. It's much harder than you're going to anticipate that it is. Okay, I don't even know how much you can see that. So I'm alternating arms. You certainly won't be able to see my left arm, and it's much harder on my left side. Okay, this is really easy for you. You can bring bricks under the hands and then try it from there. Elbow stays plugged in, lifting the hand. Beautiful. Just alternating sides. Try to do about 10 on each side. And some common things I run into, people come out wide, people come in. Try to really just lift straight up. And yes, that makes it harder. It makes it more correct. Lift. Good. So do your alternating here. Lift. Good. And then when you're all done, bring both hands back down flat to the mat. Okay? Now I want you to sweep your left arm under your head and make a pillow, drop your head down. Okay, right arm's gonna sweep back next to your side. And I want you to keep your thumb pointed down. Okay? We're gonna do 2 exercises here. First is you're gonna lift the arm, so thumb stays down. Pinky is lifting up. Then bend and see how far up your back you can place your hand. So I've landed just above my low back. Good, and then you straighten it and lower back down. Thumb on the floor. Lift, bend, unbend, drop. Do about 5 of these. And if all you get to is like your lower back or your sacrum, even if you just get to here, that's fine. So 5 of those. And then I want you to keep your hand on your back this time. Good, and now you're gonna try to lift your hand above your back. Just pulse it up. This is so tricky, right? You're like, oh, that's no big deal. And then you're like, oh my God, I can't move. 5 lifts here. Good. And then we're going to switch sides. So right arm comes under the head as a pillow. Okay? Left arm comes back. Thumb down. So you're going to lift and then bend the hand. See how far up the back you can get. Bring it back down. So that's 1. Let's do 5. Now, if this is bothering your lower back while you're doing this, you need to pull your hip points together and then drive them down into the mat. Might even look like squeezing the glutes a little bit. Okay, so we're doing 5 of these. And then on this 5th one, leave your hand here. And then you're going to attempt to just lift that hand into the air. Now, I may not be doing what I'm telling you, but you want to attempt to just lift up high. Not like lift down, right? Just lift up. Try 5 of those. Good. Gently unwind. Bring both arms up in front of you. Okay, we're going to press ourselves back into child's pose now. So hands are coming under shoulders, plugging knees into the mat, pressing back. I'm going to scoot forward a little bit so that my feet stay on the mat. So get yourself set up here into your child's pose. Right? Shoelaces of the feet are plugged into the mat, pressing back. Now if you need to take your knees a little bit wide, you can. Your lower back should be really happy to be here after this. Crawl your fingertips forward as much as you can. The more you crawl them forward, the more you should feel a stretch in your shoulder blades. Good. Now keeping elbows plugged into the mat, bring your hands together into a prayer. Mudra. Anytime you do a hand movement, that's called a mudra. Good. And then we're going to do what's called a prayer pulse. Okay, so elbows stay plugged in. We're just going to lift our hands behind our head until they touch our neck or the back of our head. And bring them back to the floor. About 10 of these. Good. And if you want to adjust, bring the shoulders a little more forward, elbows a little more forward. And of course you can slow it down and you can do a lot more. I'm just trying to get through everything I can with you. The next time your hands come down to the mat, bring your hands back, shoulder width apart, and press forward, find your tabletop. So you might need to readjust, bringing the hands under the shoulders. We'll just move through a little bit of cat-cow here. And here's the honest truth. Cat-cow can be about many different things, but when you are in cat-cow, you should actually have several different focuses when you're in tabletop and then moving in through cat-cow. So first, I want you to take the shoelaces of your feet and press them down into the mat. When you do that, you probably are going to feel your belly pull up. Then I want you to pull your hip points together. Next, tuck your shoulder blades down your back into your butt crack. So you should already feel very different, okay? Let me do that again, and if you want to watch my body change, you can. All right, so if I just come up, I'm just like, okay, I'm in tabletop, crappily, lazily. So watch how I adjust. Shoelaces of my feet press into the mat. Pull the hip points together. Pull the shoulder blades down the back, right? You should have seen a transformation there. Maybe less so than if I had a tighter shirt on, but once you're here and well adjusted, you can start to move through cat-cow, which is inhale, lower the belly, lift the face. Now when your hip points are pulled together, you don't drop down into cow the way that you could. And I know that you could, but that's not the point. That's an overexertion. It's an over-dramatic bend in the lower back. It's a leaking of your energy. Exhale, arch the back, hang the head. Feel that through the shoulder blades. If you're not activating the shoulder blades, if you're not pulling them down your back, letting elbows swivel in to face each other, then you're not going to feel it. Cat-cow and tabletop are some of the positions that allow us to get away with being the laziest, but which could really contribute the most to our proper alignment if we were utilizing them. So obviously I've been moving with my breath through cat-cow. Good. And then come back to a nice flat back, and we'll do thread the needle here. So inhale, right arm all the way up to the sky, and then thread it through underneath the left arm. Back of the hand, shoulder, face come to the floor. So you should feel a stretch in the shoulder here. My right foot wants to pop up as my body gives in to bad alignment. So I'm going to press that foot back into the floor. Pull the hip points together. Pull my shoulder blades down my back. If I want, I can lift this left hand and wrap it around behind. If it's too much pressure in the shoulder or the head and neck, you can keep that left hand on the floor. Stay here for however long works for you. I'm going to keep us moving. So to exit safely, you press through the left hand, sweep the right arm up into the sky, and then bring it back to the mat. Same thing on the other side. Left arm sweeps up, thread through back of the hand, shoulder, face come to the floor. Okay, my left foot wants to pop up. Press those shoelaces into the mat. Pull the hip points together. Pull the shoulder blades down the back. If you want, you can wrap this arm around behind. Too much pressure in the shoulder and the head and neck. Keep that right hand planted. So again, you can hang out here for as long as works for you. We have a lot more to do. So pressing through the hand, sweeping left arm up into the air. Good, and then bringing it back down to the mat. We're going to walk our hands towards our knees, tuck our toes, start to roll up to standing. Take a nice slow roll up. Pull those shoulders back, roll them out. All right, y'all. This one has a more formal name, but I call it pinching the back fat because that's what it feels like we're doing. So from the front, it looks like this. You're standing in your mountain pose, arms are open to the side, so thumbs are pointing outward. That's really important here. Okay, from the back, looks like this. Okay, I'm going to rotate around a lot here. All you're going to do is use your thumbs to pull your arms back. So you're pinching your shoulder blades together. So right here on your back is pinching together. This is why I call it pinching the back fat. Okay, so your thumbs are leading backwards as you pinch together. Right? So you should feel not only the pinch in the shoulder blades, but you're like, cool, I'm just gathering a bunch of skin and fat right there. Now, when you do this, be really easy to kind of arch forward. Right? And that's not what we're trying to do. That defeats the purpose. So we're going to pull the hip points together. We're going to hug the ribs in towards the spine. So instead of looking like this, okay, we're going to hip points, ribs. It's just a movement through the arms. See the difference there between and pinch the arms back. Good. So it's pinch back, release, pinch back. And with each movement of the arms, you're checking in with hip points, with ribs, and with shoulder blades. Good. So you can do about 5 of these. Pinch the back fat. Such a sexy name. Okay, one more. Keep those hip points pulled together, ribs hugged in. Good, release that, roll shoulders back. Grab your strap. All right, so this is a windmill, and there's a couple things going on. You want to take your hands nice and wide. The tighter your shoulders are, the wider you're going to go. So your goal is to be as wide as you need, but not any wider. And you'll experiment a couple of times. So you're going to hold it out in front of you like this. I'm going to stand sideways so that you can see what's happening. And here, again, it's really important that you've got your hip points pulled together and your ribs hugged in, okay? So what we're going to do is take the strap, holding it wide and holding it taut. Lift it all the way up into the air, and then bring it all the way down until it touches the butt. All the way up, all the way down in the front. Now, again, watch my torso here. Here's the wrong way to do it. Arching. Right? Okay, hip points, ribs. I'm going to keep that core steady and activated so that this movement is in the shoulders, not in the torso. Okay, so your goal is like 10 of these. I'm not keeping track because I've been just talking to you. But do as many as you can. And don't go too fast. Here's the other thing you want to watch out for. Keeping your hands even. So you don't want to be like leading with one arm. A, it's cheating. B, you're going to put a little hitch in your giddy up. Okay, so keeping hands pretty even. Keeping arms together as a unit. Brilliant. Once you feel like you've done about 10 there, you're going to grab your strap with your right hand about a foot away from the rings so that they're hanging down like an anchor. Okay? Then your right arm's going to come up and bend behind the back. So I've got the rings hanging down my back like an anchor. I'm going to sweep my left hand up behind, grab the rings, and then work my hands as close together as I can. Okay? So that's about as far as I can get right now. There's been times in my life where I could touch and grab my own fingers, but now is not one of them. Okay? So that's a good stretch, but look what's happening. Arching forward, pull the hip points together, hug the ribs into the spine. Okay? And then hang on for your dear life or walk the hands a little bit closer together. Hopefully you can see. I've got purple on navy blue on black, but hopefully you can see here. So again, you can stay for a lot longer, and the way to get out of this safely is to slide the bottom hand down, release. Good. So now we're going to switch hands. So my left hand is grabbing the strap. Coming up overhead, let the rings hang down. Right arm sweeping up. Grab the rings and then walk the hands closer together. So you're going to see this side's harder for me. That's okay. That's normal. You're going to have one side be harder for sure. So again, arching forward, pull the hip points together, hug in the ribs. Should see a difference in my posture there and in your own. Stay here for as long as you can. Breathing here. Good. So again, slide the bottom hand down the rings, release, bring the top hand up overhead. Then I always want to roll them out, shimmy a little bit, shake it out. We always have a dance party in my class. So one more thing with the strap. Here, you're going to grab it behind you, and your goal is to really kind of stay hip distance apart. But again, the tighter the shoulders, the wider you're going to end up going. You're going to be tempted here to go super wide, so you can feel super flexible. Don't push too hard or too far, or you will feel it tomorrow. You may feel it anyway, but it won't feel good if you go too hard on this particular exercise. So I'm going to go about hip width apart. Now, so a lot of times where I demonstrate stuff, and I'm sure you're like, well, of course you can go that far because you're a yoga teacher. I do not have good shoulder flexibility. So, for example, if I put my strap down, a lot of people here can clasp their hands, fold forward, and then just lift their arms up overhead. This is as far as I can go. I can't go anywhere. Nothing's happening here. So this is why I do this with the strap. Okay? Now I could go really wide and get my arms all the way up to my head, but that's just showing off, which is not the point, right? All right, so find your mountain pose. Feet are hip distance, root down through the feet, rise up through the legs, hip points, ribs. Inhale up nice and tall. Exhale, fold. Good. If you want to inhale halfway lift, you can. Good. And then we're just bringing the arms up overhead. So see here, once they get to a certain height, gravity's helping them come further forward. I could take my hands wider on the strap and get my arms closer to my ears. And it wouldn't serve me tomorrow. I just want to get far enough that I feel the stretch in my shoulders. Okay, knees can be bent. The point right now is not the hamstrings. Just breathe. I might take my hands slightly wider, right? Just so you feel it. You don't want to feel it crazy, you just want to feel it. And again, hang out as long as you can. When you're ready to safely exit, you bring the strap back down until it hits the butt. Release the strap, let it just kind of hang on you. Bring your hands to the floor. Beautiful. Bend your knees a lot, roll up. Strap can just fall off. Perfect. All right, so we're going to do one more thing here. We're clasping our hands behind our body. As you already know, anytime you bring your arms behind, you're going to try to arch forward. So pull in the hips, pull in the ribs. Okay? And a lot of times we just clasp here and pull down. And that's fine. But what's better is you clasp here and don't bring your hands down too far yet. Then I want you to squeeze the elbows together. And then instead of pulling down, I want you to push the hands down. Squeeze the elbows together. Push the hands down. Squeeze the elbows. Sometimes you gotta get around some of your bra fat. Squeeze the elbows together. Push the hands down. Oh, feel those shoulders where you want them to be located. Now check your posture. Hips, ribs. Breathe. Should feel great, but should also feel better than when we just stand around and pull our shoulders back. You know what I'm saying? Okay, release. Shake it out. All right, we are moving into the wall and the doorway here. Strap we are done with. We're almost done. I feel like this is getting super long. Please forgive me, but also your shoulders should be madly in love with me. All right, we're gonna do a pec stretch at the wall. And your pecs, of course, are not your shoulders, but they're intricately connected. Okay, so you're gonna stand perpendicular to the wall. You're gonna step your inside leg forward. Okay? So you wanna be, right, I turned kind of like this when I stepped forward. Keep the hips shining forward like headlights. Okay, we're gonna take the wall arm, inside arm, lift it up, around, and behind until you can place it on the wall, and you'll immediately feel that in the pec. Now let me make something clear. When we do our back video together, we're gonna do a version where you windmill this up and your torso turns to the wall. That's not what we're doing. That's a thoracic spine exercise. This is supposed to be a pec stretch. So your torso is not turning. Okay, so this arm is windmilling, but your torso is not following it. Now, you can keep your arm up high, or you can work it down lower. The lower you get down to perpendicular is gonna be the deeper stretch. Okay, so this stretch is really getting into what's called the pec minor, and we're gonna do a different stretch to address the pec major. So you're just finding all of your proper alignment cues here, right? Rooting through the feet, pull hip points together, hug ribs to the spine. You might even squeeze the right butt cheek if you'd like. And breathe. Try to keep that chest facing forward. Okay, so we can do this on both sides. To safely exit, now you can pivot towards the wall. You can also windmill the arm back, but I like to kind of give in to the muscle. Treat it a little nicer. So you'll switch sides. Again, inside leg steps forward. Inside arm comes back and around. Now, this side's much easier for me. You saw I went right to the lower arm. Again, it should be consistent with what you've been experiencing the whole time. Which arm is tighter, right? So bent knee, hip points together, ribs snugged in. I'm gonna actually even squeeze my left butt cheek because it helps me keep my hips forward. And then breathe. So this is one of those spots where you're feeling sensation, but you shouldn't be feeling pain. And again, you can stay for much longer than we're staying in this video. Okay, so I'm gonna pivot towards the wall to kind of release that. Okay, so second part of the pec stretch is we're gonna move to this doorway. Hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing over here. So you're gonna stand facing one side of the doorway, okay? Parallel to the wall. Arms are coming up into a cactus. The one that needs to be in the cactus is the one that's going in the doorway. So I'm bringing this left arm parallel, perpendicular, towards the doorway, putting it right up against the frame. Again, my inside leg is gonna step forward. Okay, I'm keeping my hips parallel, and then I'm gonna start to take that step forward. I'm pulling forward. You should feel that stretch. Slightly different spot, and you're gonna feel it in the back of your shoulder blade. Breathing here, again. Hip points, ribs, spine, through the crown of the head. I don't really need to squeeze my butt cheek here. Breathe. Good, so again, you can stay for 2 minutes. I'm gonna keep going, so I'm gonna step back. Boom. Now, you can go to the other side of the doorway. Mine's out of the frame of the video, so I'm gonna pivot and use the wall since there's a doorway here. So right arm is now in the cactus. I'm gonna bring it into the doorway. I'm gonna step my right foot forward. coming back into the frame, you can stay for longer. Okay? All right, we've got 3 more wall exercises and then we're calling it a day. Okay, this next one is going to be a little hard for you to see because you have to face the wall, but I'm going to demonstrate for you as best I can. So you're going to start out. My son rips apart the rug and part of it is stuck to my leg. Okay, you're starting out facing the wall. So pretending facing the wall. And you're bringing your arms up. So it's like goalposts and then you sweep them together. Okay? Arms are parallel, shoulder distance apart, and you're going to set your forearms onto the wall like this. And that's the distance your body will be away from the wall. Pull the shoulder blades down the back. Okay, so you're standing there like that. You're going to bend the knees slightly, round the back. Okay, so I'm going to move to the wall now in this posture. And then from here, you just slide the hands up the wall. So elbows will come off the wall and then slide them back down. Good, so you're feeling this a lot through the shoulder blades ideally. Okay, bend the knees, round the back, slide up, slide down, slide up, slide down. And if every time you want to go up straight and then readjust the posture, you can. And what you should be feeling is a pulling of the shoulders and shoulder blades down correctly into where you want them to be. Okay, so it looks like this on the wall. Bend the knees, arch the back, slide up, slide down, slide up, slide down. Obviously my arms would be on the wall. Okay, so you can do that like 10 different times. Then you'll turn, say your back is to the wall. Okay, I get as close as I can. My heels are probably 4 or 5 inches from the wall. Put your butt up against the wall, put your whole back and torso. You can even bend the knees a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to bring my arms up overhead like this. So goalpost, but a little higher. The goal here is to keep the elbow and the back of the hand against the wall as you bring them down, just like we did earlier in our twist. Now, if your hands are coming off the wall, that's okay. Bring your butt off the wall a little bit. So lift the hips forward. Slide up, slide down. Now, I can do this with my butt on the wall, so that's the goal, keeping the butt attached to the wall. Okay, slide down. So you're feeling this. It's a little bit pinching the back fat, right? And pinching through the muscles around the shoulder blade. Beautiful. Now when you're doing this, I can feel my ribs popping forward. So I want to snug them back into the spine, into the wall. So you're focused on a lot of things. Pressing your body against the wall. Keeping the ribs pulled in. Elbows and hands glued to the wall. Now like I said, you can bring the butt forward if you need to. The goal you're working up to is hips and hands and everything on the wall. Okay? And you'll do as many sets of those as you can. The last one is very informal. So if you have a ball like this, now you want to use maybe a little bit bigger. Like a lacrosse ball is perfect, or a trigger point therapy ball. I have a trigger point ball that has gone missing. So I'm going to use this little one, but you want to use one that's slightly bigger. And you can put it anywhere in your back, but specifically along the shoulder blades. Just pin it to the wall and roll it around, right? If you're super tight back there, so this is not an area of my back where I used to experience tightness, so I just rolled it to the other shoulder blade, but you can always move and put it there yourself, right? I didn't used to experience tightness here until I was carrying a baby around all the time. And so where my back bothers me has changed significantly. So that's the last tip, okay? So that was a lot, and I feel like I was going pretty fast, but we're at like an hour. I thought this was gonna be a 20-30 minute video, okay? So you can pick and choose which ones of those work best for you. Only you know where in your shoulders are the tightest and how to make that work best for you. So regardless, I hope I gave you some great stretches you can use today that you can start to integrate into your own practice. I hope your shoulders are feeling fabulous. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Namaste.